Godspeed to the city.
It was a bright Monday morning, and you were sleeping peacefully on your warm and cozy bed. The gentle rustle of cherry blossom petal was blowing against the window pane of your room. Your lips were parted slightly in sleep, your hair a messy crown around your head, and your right arm was dangling off the edge of the bed. You were in a peace until slam. The bedroom door swung open and a middle-aged maid, Miss Lara, stepped inside. Miss Ryan, it is already 7:45 a.m. You are again late for the school, she said a bit loudly to wake you up. You let out a dramatic groan and buried your face deeper into the pillow. You yawned loudly, made strange half-asleep expressions, and then slowly you opened your eyes. You blinked at the sunlight and then you spoke, stretching your arms. What time it is, Miss Lara? It is 7:45, ma'am, and that was it. You got up in the speed of lightning, the bedsheet's cover flying into the air, your foot dangling in the blanket. Ook, he left me again, you screamed, standing up hurriedly. Your oversized pajama pants slipped tightly as you stormed around the room in an attempt to look for your school uniform. Your cold professor husband, Jungkook, had once again left for school without waking you up. It's been 2 months to our marriage, but still he acts so creepy. His body plant has more right in this house, you said and dashed into the bathroom. Brushing your teeth with one hand while trying to fix your messy hair with the other, you were muttering to yourself. After 10 minutes, you quickly slipped into your school uniform, which was not ironed from any angle, and then grabbing your school bag, you stormed out of the house, still huffing. Your school was only 20 minutes walk away, but today even your shoes were feeling heavier. The cherry blossoms outside seemed to dance mockingly as if they were laughing at your situation. As you reached the sidewalk, a sleek car pulled up beside you, the tinted window rolled down. You looked inside the car to see Minhu, the notorious bad boy of the college, smart, smug, and someone who skipped more classes than he attended. He had a reputation of being untouchable. Hey, you clumsy, you look like you lose a fight with your closet. By the way, come get in, you are already late. No thanks, I am fine, you said lazily, looking around. Oh, come on, don't tell me you are going to walk into this uniform, he said, laughing. You thought for a moment and then sighing dramatically, you slid into the passenger seat. I'm not going to say thank you for this. I am not really begging for it, he said, chuckling to himself. You rolled your eyes. By the time you reached the school parking lot, you quickly grabbed your bag from the back seat and then got down the car. But just as you looked around casually, your eyes caught a familiar figure at the top of the stairs. Professor Jungkook, your husband, was standing there still. His eyes were sharp and his lips were tight. Jungkook had just stepped out of the board meeting and he had to witness his wife. His jaw clenched, his gaze shifted from you to Minho and then back to you. You could flinch looking at his cold face. Jungkook turned without a word. His long black coat was fluttering behind him. As he walked towards the classroom building, you gulped, you needed to reach the classroom before Jungkook for preventing yourself from his coldness. Your legs moved faster as you saw Jungkook heading towards the classroom. No, no, I won't let him reach before me. I won't let him call me out in front of everyone again. With a deep breath and all that urgency in your tiny chaotic body, you dashed ahead, brushing past a few students who were leaving for their classes. The bell rang, making your body cover with a sweat. Jungkook was about to step inside the room when you ran past him and stormed inside the classroom up to your seat. Jungkook sighed, looked at you for a while, and then slipping his hand into his pant pocket, he briskly walked to the podium and started to take attendance. David. He was calling out the name of students for attendance. Tina, present. Professor, Liwayan. He said your name without looking up at you. Present, you said. Minhyuk. He called next, but just then, knock, knock, a loud knock came at the classroom door. Everyone turned to look at Minho, who was standing by the door frame with a playful smirk as if he owned the world. Jungkook's eyes narrowed immediately. You are late, Mr. Minho, he said coldly with his one raised eyebrow. Minho made a dramatic bow and tilted his head. Oops, my bad, he said playfully, and then his eyes started to search for someone in the classroom. Jungkook frowned. Minho smiled as he finally found you sitting at the last bench. He gave you a cheeky wave while mouthing a slow, exaggerated "see you later." You blinked in a surprise, and without thinking twice, you raised your head back with a small grin. The student burst into giggles, but Jungkook froze. He cleared his throat. You were still staring out the door, lost into your own thoughts. Jungkook poked his inner cheeks and coughed dramatically, this time more louder, but you still didn't look at him. Jungkook's hand clenched the chalk tightly. Lee Yen. Almost all the students jumped out of their seats, even you almost dropped your pen. You stood up from your seat and stared at him with wide eyes. Yes, Professor. You asked, your eyebrows were frowned. He looked around the classroom and realized that loud scream of him had caught everyone's attention. Though everyone in the school knows you both are a couple. 2 months ago, your parents arranged your marriage and you both agreed, although it was an arranged marriage. Looking at the confused faces of students, Jungkook gave them a tight smile. I meant never to be late for the class, Miss Ryan again. Not after arriving in that kind of company, he said calmly. You gulped and nodded your head like not so obedient student. He continued rest of the attendance, but his heart was still racing. After a while, Jungkook delivered the lecture and then left the classroom as the bell rang. Time skipped. The bell rang again, making the start of the third period. The students straightened up in their seats. Some were drowsy, some were whispering about exams, while others were checking their phones under the table. Just then, the classroom door creaked open and Jungkook stepped inside. He quickly looked away before you could see him. He walked to the podium and clearly his throat, he spoke out. Before we begin, I have an announcement for you all. The students became silent immediately. He glanced down for a second and then up again. The school is going on a camping trip tomorrow. The students who are willing can fulfill the forms. Pack your lunch and arrive at school by 8 a.m. in the morning. He said and looked at you. You guessed excitedly. The students cheered, whispered, and students excitedly looked at each other. Hoa, camping trip. This is gonna be so fun. Can we bring guitars? I hope we will get to sleep under the stars. They were whispering to each other. Meanwhile, your excitement was on next level. Your shoulders were bouncing and your hands were flying up into the air in an excitement. Yay, finally! You squealed and stood up from your chair, accidentally knocking over your water bottle. Ah, you bent to pick it up but accidentally banged your head on the desk. Oh, the students laughed, you rubbed your head and then smiled. You started to wave your arms like a small little cute penguin. Yay, camping, camping. You were very excited to go for a camping. But just then the boys from the back row chuckled and whispered to each other. Wine is cute. She's so pretty. Hearing that, Jungkook's smile disappeared. The class froze. This is not school picnic, it's a university assignment, so keep your excitement to yourself. Everyone looked at each other with disappointment. You froze in mid dance. A sad spot appeared on your face as you sat on your chair lazily. Later at home, a gentle rain was tapping against your bedroom window. You were sitting on the edge of the bed while nervously nibbling at your thumbnail. But why can't I go for the trip? You ask him with frown eyebrows. Because it is my order, you are not going to any camping trip, and that is final. Jungkook was sitting at the study chair with a stack of students' reports and warm cup of black coffee. His glasses were resting on the bridge of his nose. You sighed and looked at your half-packed pink bag, which was laying open on the rug in front of you. Your hoodie sleeves were pulled over your hands, which was making you look even more childish than usual. You got up from the bed and tiptoed over to him. You began softly, but he didn't look up. No, he said, adjusting his glasses. But why? You went walking around him in circles like a restless puppy. He didn't respond. Everyone is going, even Mina and Sujin. Why not me? I said no. He interrupted, his eyes still on the report. Jungkook's pen passed and he looked at you. That is not true. You just went to your friend's birthday party last week. And you, Mr. Drop Me, and picked me up in 10 minutes. Jungkook poked his inner cheeks and looked at your face again. Hey, so this is about his? He didn't answer and returned to his grading without a word. You have then turned around, but then an idea came into your mind. Once of your friends told you that how she always convinced her friend. Your cheeks were flushed. You convinced him that you both go for a camping trip, but he promised that you will stay with him all the time. The next morning, the school gate 7:55 a.m. The school bus was stood at the curb and the students were hammering on it. You also boarded on the bus with a shy smile as you reached the last night. Jungkook was also blushing as you sat near the window seat. Jungkook gave Minho a piercing gaze and which made Minho gulp. The last row is empty, Minho. You better go there. Minho sighed and giving you a tired smile, he walked to the back seat. Jungkook smiled at you and then sat beside you. The bus began to move, rumbling onto the road. You and Jungkook were staring, but suddenly bumped. The bus hit the pathhole. You lost the balance completely. Your small figure tumbled sideways. The student gasped, looking at both of you. Jungkook gulped. I just slipped. That is all right, princess. He whispered, making you smile. Giggles continued from the back. You started to look out the window to hide your blushing face. Jungkook smiled to himself. Jungkook noticed one or two more glancing from behind. You looked at him confused. It is chilly. I don't want you to catch a cold, he said. Thank you, you smiled. After a while, finally the bus stopped and the students stepped out. They settled the tents and then the lunch boxes were opened. Jungkook was putting some more food into your plate. Don't eat less, eat it to your fullest, he whispered. In the evening, the teacher and students played some team games and roasted marshmallows by the fire. By the night you all returned to the tents, there were two separate tents for the students, one for the girls and other for the boys. The teacher and other staff members had separate cabins. As you were about to sleep, someone tapped your shoulder. You turned your head and found Hana, a pretty girl from your class who used to be your friend, but not anymore. Professor Jungkook is looking for you. He said to meet him near the lake. There is something urgent, she said in a whispered tone as the other students were sleeping. You frowned, but why would he call me in the dark? Hana shrugged with a smile. You are his wife, right? He probably didn't need anything else to say. Something didn't feel right, but the thought that he wanted to see you, your heart skipped. You threw on your hoodie and quickly walked out the camp. After a while, you stepped into a jungle towards the lake. Half an hour passed. You were walking in a jungle searching for the lake. Branches were cracking under your feet, and your eyes were anxiously looking around. Jungkook, you called out, but there was no answer. Your heart began to pound. Turning into a slow circle, you looked everywhere, but there were only trees, shadows, and silence. Jungkook! You yelled out his name. Your voice was trembling. Suddenly, your ankle twisted on a rock. Ah! You collapsed onto the forest floor, your vision spinning, your breath grew shallow, and then blackness. It's been 2 hours since you had not returned, and now Hannah started to get worried about you. She went to Jungkook's cabin and told him that how she sent you to the jungle, saying that Jungkook is waiting for you. Jungkook face lost his color. He wore the shoes, grabbed his flashlight, and ran to the jungle, not even wasting a second. Lee Yan! He screamed your name, looking around. His shoes were slamming against the forest path. Lee Yan! He shouted again. His mind was not working properly, as he was really anxious about you. Then suddenly he heard voices. He rushed towards the lake, and there under the moonlight, Minhu was there. What happened? He roared, storming forward. Minhu looked up. I found her fainting near the lake. She looked cold, and before he could complete, his eyes became wild. He took you to his cabin, kicking the door open with his foot. Tears started to fall down on his cheeks. Suddenly he stayed slightly and started to murmur his name softly, Jungkook. You slowly opened your eyes. I am here, princess, with you. The next day, Hannah was off from the school. After 5 years, don't worry, princess, the twins monsters have gone to their grandma's house. They won't come anytime sooner. All of a sudden, you both heard noises from the stairway. He murmured, making you chuckle.